Today's podcast is sponsored by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/doctrine. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Download today. Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast exploring Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Jimmy Fowler, elder candidate at Redeemer Fellowship.
Do you want to try that again? Elder candidate. Say elder candidate.
I did, elder candidate.
You say like elder candidate.
Elder candidate.
I'm afraid that first timers won't know what that is. What's an elder candidate?
Elder candidate.
There you go.
Elder candidate.
Very good. All right.
You know,
this is what it means for me to coach you, mentor you, disciple you, lead you.
Usually that's
you
Pat. Pastor Pat's
yeah, Pat ain't here now, is he? That's right.
Nah, I miss him.
Okay. So,
I miss my best friend.
So I'm getting these calls on my phone all the time. Right now, this one is from New Orleans, Louisiana. I know it's a sales call. I know it's one of those telemarketers. I know, but why do you
answer it? Answer and put it on speaker.
All right, here we go. Ready? This is Joe.
Congratulations, your business has been approved.
You've been approved, Joe! You've been approved!
All day long. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor at Redeemer Fellowship, and I get a lot of stupid sales calls and telemarketing.
His number is 630.
Oh, yeah, so you want trouble. I give it out to everybody at church, but I don't know why it's getting out there to crazy people. Man, it's a new week. Mm-hmm. It's Thursday. Man, what are we gonna do this weekend?
This weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's the weekend coming up. You got big plans?
I'm trying to think what's going on next weekend. I think, I have my calendar out. I think I have a birthday party.
Oh.
I think I got, let's see.
Are you hanging out with the neighbors again?
No, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I do know now. Okay, it's on my schedule. I am going to the Cubs-Cardinals game on Saturday.
Oh, on the 24th?
On the 24th.
Ooh, I saw your seats, too. I saw pictures.
Yeah.
They're kind of good.
They're pretty good.
Send me a picture so I can put it up in the show notes.
No, I am not.
No, they want to see.
I don't want them to see that.
Okay, so...
but watch TV and you'll see me.
Yeah,
that's all I know.
You can't miss the fofo.
You can't miss the fofo. Though I'm not... But okay, I'll be down the third baseline, behind the dugout. It'll be...
Front row.
First row
there.
There are tickets given to me and my family, and so I'm taking my two boys their first Cubs game.
Yeah. And
they've been asking.
They're so young and so dumb, they won't understand any of it. You could have taken me, and it would have been the same thing.
It would have been the exact same thing.
Right.
But I could have drank with you.
Yeah, exactly. We could have had a beer together. But then you take your sons.
Well, no, I could have a beer with them too. I just drink theirs for them.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. So
what do you got going on next weekend?
You know what?
And I don't condone underage with under 5.
What are you saying now?
I'm just saying.
I think you got nervous there.
No, I did get nervous.
Because you said something about drinking with children.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I am not condoning
Obama
that.
will tap your phones, man.
Obama has already tapped my phone.
Oh, I bet he has.
Oh, he has. Obama is all over my phone.
Yeah, man, we're just...
but I'm not condoning drinking under 10.
Okay, that's good. I appreciate that because you want to be careful.
That's right.
You know what? The thing going on this weekend, our youth group, led by Jake Schmenke. He's putting on a silent auction to help Operation Christmas Child. They've done a really good job organizing this. And so,
now I feel like a jerk because I'm talking about going to the Cubs game and you're talking about going to a fundraiser.
You're talking about drinking beer with little kids.
I'm going to the fundraiser
talking about
as
helping little kids.
I'm doing both. I'm going to the fundraiser as well. Maybe.
Okay, maybe, yeah. Well, it's at 6 p.m. You should be okay.
6 p.m. Well, no, his is on Sunday, right?
Yeah, Sunday at 6 p.m.
Yeah, but I'm going on Saturday.
Yeah, so I'm saying you'll be fine.
So I might be there.
Yeah, you'll be there.
Possibly.
All right, so look, we don't have a lot of time tonight, so what we wanted to do was open up the big mailbag. Jump in and see what's going on, because people write in emails all the time.
All the time.
I can't believe how much email we get every day. We just started this podcast, and I honestly thought it would be fun, which it is. But I didn't expect as many people to be into it.
And we appreciate you guys actually getting involved and asking questions and giving us your thoughts and your criticism.
Yeah, sharing ideas and passing on good stuff to us. You know, like we try to pass on good stuff to you guys. It's been awesome.
So the first one is...
I'll ask the first one.
No, I'm going to ask
the first one.
No, I'm not. No,
Here we go.
Take it this one.
Chris Land says...
Chris Land, his subject is Andy Stanley. Here's his message. Joe and Jimmy, my question is in regards to the recent comments Andy Stanley has made regarding getting the spotlight off the Bible onto the resurrection of Christ at ERLC 2016 and his sermon the following Sunday, which seems to be his response to the criticism of his statements. Love the podcast. Keep doing what you are doing. Chris.
Well, Chris, because I don't live my life according to your whims and desires, I have not bothered to look up what you're talking about. So, next email.
Is that really how you're going to do it? Is that really how
No, I know Chris. I know who Chris is.
Oh, okay.
Chris is an online friend. Honestly, Chris, I knew about the ERLC's conference. I like the ERLC. I love Russ Moore. Dr. Moore is fantastic. Theologically, I have a lot of issues with Andy Stanley's positions that he's taken, and with many of his practices when it comes to ecclesiology, preaching theology, things like that. So I'm definitely not a fanboy. We're not really in the same theological tribe, but I didn't see this, and so I wouldn't want to speculate. But if based on what you said, we need to get the spotlight off the Bible and onto the resurrection. The best way that I can take that, and I try to take things in the best possible way,
because you really look at people through like the best possible lens.
I try to receive what they say. No, I judge people for who they are because they're a mess. But what they say, I try to understand it in the best possible, not the worst possible light.
All right.
So when
fair.
if Andy Stanley, Andy Stanley loves Jesus. I don't doubt that for a moment. And so when he says we got to get the spotlight off the Bible and onto the resurrection, I don't know what he meant. But here's what I could take away just from that statement is, I am not going to win a lot of arguments arguing for the verbal plenary inspiration of Scripture with the men that are not Christians at the cigar lounge that Jimmy and I spend a lot of time at. But if I talk to them about the resurrection of Christ, the gospel, then I think I have much more confidence. And I don't know, but maybe he's talking about our tendency to argue and practice apologetics about some of our core convictions that, maybe give comfort to us, but aren't necessarily the messages that, bring people to the saving knowledge of God. So I don't know.
Do you think maybe he's, and I'm like, again, I want to give Andy Stanley the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, because he's on your shelf with the other guys.
Actually, I do have him up here. I think I have Visioneering.
Let's say this about it. Like, listen, all I like to read is the Puritans and the Reformers, and that's what I like to read. I've read a couple of Andy Stanley books on vision casting and things like that. And Reformed guys would do well to learn from those kinds of guys when it comes to understanding how to communicate vision and to implement systems that will help to carry your Reformed theology and practice into the church. But anyways, go ahead.
But I kind of, I want to think the best of him as well in this, right? Like that. Why you give me that look?
What,
like I'm wondering. When I first heard it, I was thinking, is he pushing against Bible idolatry?
Yeah,
right?
Bibliolatry, they call it.
Yeah, where it's all about head knowledge, and he's trying to push and say, take the spotlight off the Bible. And again, I am speculating because we
ain't got time for that.
That's it.
We got our Netflix shows. We have to watch our Netflix shows.
That's it.
We got
NCIS.
We got Cigar Night.
We got Cigar Night.
And then
we got Bourbon Night.
And we got Cigar Night.
And I know you said that.
No, the second Cigar Night.
We
got first Cigar Night,
first Cigar Night, second
Cigar Night,
Bourbon Night.
Right.
We have Monday Night Football.
Right.
We got Thursday Night Football. We got Sunday Night Football. I ain't got time to be going to these things.
No, I'm sure it's good. Here, Chris, listen. Here's one of the things that any of the guys that I'm discipling or coaching, if I'm taking them through books and raising them up, future leaders, potential leaders, and all of that. One of the things that I always tell them is when you're listening to a sermon or reading a book, and you find yourself in conflict with what's being said or what's being presented, always ask, in what sense is what they are saying correct, if at all, and in what sense is what they are saying potentially incorrect? In other words, how are they right? How are they wrong?
That's it.
And that will help you to better understand both their message and how it can be taken in one way or another. And that's not to just give them a pass. I mean, listen, if people are speaking heresy and false doctrine, then we need to call them out. Yeah, we're not playing around with that.
You got to stand up against the verdict.
Oh, jeez. But at the same time, we do want to be charitable and give people the benefit of the doubt until it's very, very clear otherwise. All right, I got an email from you, buddy.
All right,
for
let's
you.
do it.
Here we go. This is from a guy named JD.
All right. First of all, I want to say I am still firmly believing that this is made up.
It's not made up.
No,
I promise it's not. And listen. Okay, here's the thing.
I believe you made this up.
All right.
That you created a fake. Because look at that email address. That looks so fake to me.
No, it doesn't.
I know. Don't give it out because maybe it is real.
It is real.
I don't feel like it is.
It's not Israel, but it is real.
I feel like this is fake.
The reason Jimmy thinks this is fake is because it has to deal with long hair. But here's the thing. Jimmy's hair is actually not long. My hair was twice as long as that, at least when I was in high school. I had long hair. This is like I don't know. It's like fashion hair is all that is.
It's
I had
Fabio
metal
hair.
hair, man, down
I
to the
got
bottom of
Fabio.
my chest. You got little Fabio hair. That ain't good.
I ain't little. He was big.
So yeah, but you know.
What? I don't know.
He was muscular and handsome, and
That's
you're
what
not.
Well, I know, but I got the hair.
And his was blonde, and
Yeah, but look how
yours is
silky
like
smooth mine
charcoal
is.
and a little gray. I see some gray coming in.
Oh my gosh! Stop.
All right,
it.
so
That's
I
not
promise
funny.
you, I used to get that all the time with my long hair. So here is the email.
Oh, this is fake.
It's not fake, I promise. Could y'all? That's no. Yeah. First of all, right there, that's how you know I didn't write this.
No, that's how I know you did because you're trying to make it sound like a backwoods individual.
Could y'all? Just for future reference, JD.
You don't sound very smart when you say "could y'all."
People up north are super arrogant and judgmental, and they think that they're better than the people from the south. So when you guys talk with your southern accent, unless you're a pretty girl, they'll go, "Oh, that's kind of cute." If you're a dude, they'll think you're dumb.
Could y'all?
All right, so you're not wrong in saying "could y'all." There's nothing wrong with that. It's a contraction of you all. It's totally fine. I'm just saying there are judgmental people up here where we live who will judge you for it. Could you
Joe
all?
Thorne being one.
I do not. Could you all address the topic of men's hair length?
The longer the better. Oh, that's the question.
I can't grow hair. Does Scripture prohibit men?
No. Prohibited.
Yeah, he spelled it wrong. Okay, He's from the south. All right, so
that's why I know it's you. You're making it sound bad.
it's not. I promise it's not me. Dude, I don't lie. I play jokes all the time, but I never lie
All right, you're
about
right.
anything.
You never do
All right.
lie.
So, does Scripture prohibited men? Does Scripture prohibit men from having long hair? 1 Corinthians 11:14, or from women having short hair? Jimmy, since you have beautiful, luxurious, long hair that makes balding men like myself jealous with envy, could you please answer this? What does the Bible have to say about long hair? I think I know what it says. I'm pretty sure, if memory serves me correctly, it says something about long hair being a disgrace.
I don't know what disgrace.
I think it says disgrace.
It does say that word.
Yeah,
Here you
I
go.
think it does.
1 Corinthians. I'm going to go ahead and read
Why don't you go ahead and read it for us, Jimmy?
1 Corinthians 11:14 says this.
Here comes the judgment.
Does not nature itself teach you that if a man wears long hair, it is a disgrace for him? But if a woman has long hair, it is her glory. For her hair is given to her for a covering. Verse 16. If anyone is inclined to be contentious, we have no such practice, nor do the churches of God.
Why are you reading that verse?
I don't know why.
That's why it sounds smart or something like that. Okay, so
I wanted to give in context.
Clearly,
No, here's why. Because I wanted to try to give a bit of context.
Okay.
Which is the issue that we're facing right now. Is you have no context. Your context is just pulling out a verse saying, "Is this?" And I'm not saying you. I'm talking about people in general. Pulling out a verse and saying that, saying you have to look at the context of 1 Corinthians. Is discussing
Right.
and addressing certain issues and problems that are going on in Corinth. It is prescribing
like
something
sex with prostitutes in the temple.
exactly.
So that's okay today because that's only a cultural issue back then. That's what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh.
But yeah, come on now. You know that there's some things that are was for a time, for a place. But actually, Calvin talks about this here. John freaking Calvin.
What did he say?
He says this. Now, he means by natural what was accepted by common consent and usage at the time. So he's saying it's contextualized.
It's cultural.
For long hair was not always regarded as a disgraceful thing in man.
You don't even have to be a cultural exegete to understand that. You just have to read your Bible a little bit, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I would even talk about like if someone's really firm about this, then yeah. What about short hair for women, or what are there women being covered actually up in Port Alberni, British Columbia?
British Columbia? Where's that?
Canada.
That's in Canada? Why do they call it Columbia?
Oh my gosh, you're going to go through this
Okay,
again.
go ahead.
Thank you. so I was doing Young Life, and I had the privilege of visiting churches all throughout the community.
Sounds awesome.
Because part of it was they were supporting the ministry. I had to get to know. So we went to this one church. I don't know. It was not even a denomination. It wasn't it was I think the grandfather or the dad started the church, and it was all his family.
Okay, so they're doing their own thing.
They were doing their own thing. So they would wear kind of long skirts.
All right, that's okay.
And they had head coverings. And so
Sure.
we'd walk in. And
Did you have the hair?
I had the hair. But they were fine. Here's the thing, though. They were fine with me. For Michelle, they're like, "Oh, does she want a hat? We have an extra hat."
Oh, okay.
I was like, "No, she's fine. She's good." And we're sitting down, and they're like, "Yeah, Brother Jim Fowler's going to be doing this. Brother Jim Fowler's going to be doing that. Brother Jim Fowler's going to be doing this." And then the guy goes, because they welcome me up, right? And the guy goes, "Yeah, let's please welcome Brother Jim Fowler and the wife." And I felt Michelle's nails dig into me. So I get up there, and of course I'm like, God's doing so many great things here, in Port Alberni. I'm very thankful for the work that he's doing through Michelle. Michelle's doing this. Michelle's doing that.
Yeah,
Michelle this. I'm
right.
like, I ain't going to get in trouble. Not over these guys. The weirdest thing about it. And so here's what I'm talking about here is, people want to say these things, but they don't really practice it. Because here they wanted to act like a woman is inferior to a man and doesn't have any authority. You know what I mean by authority in that sense. Over a man or even with a man. They're to be subjected in all things, to not even be named, right? But afterwards, the service, I'm sitting there and guys are shaking my hands with fistfuls of cash.
Yeah.
But what would happen, though, is they'd start shaking my hand, and all of a sudden across the room you'd hear this, and it was their wife looking at them, and they'd pull their wallet out and give me more. But I'm talking about that here, though, as well, right? Like, people want to talk about these things and say that, but are they really consistent? You're not consistent. You're not consistent in all these things because it was for a certain time at a certain place,
right,
in a certain situation.
Greeting each other with a holy kiss.
Well, no, I do that.
But what I'm saying is, I know you do that. You're very affectionate.
I'm very affectionate. I like to kiss Joe and Pat.
We tend to recognize it, like Calvin recognized that, the nature of long things, meaning the culture of the day, it was pretty much universally understood that this is a sign of immorality that we would even recognize. And so we just don't do that.
It's not the same for us today.
There is a sense in which we need to be aware of, the cultural expectations of the day, and not to let that define us or determine how we behave, but we do need to be aware because we don't want to miscommunicate who we are or what we are about.
And if we want to really be biblical, there's only one recorded haircut in the Bible, and that dude was killed for it.
Yeah,
he died. He lost all his power,
right? And
he died.
But he was, what? I got to be honest, man. Samson was kind of a loser.
What do you mean a loser?
I mean, the dude screwed up big time.
How's that different than you and I? But I'm just talking about his power. And he had long hair. It was all part of it.
Yeah, here's the thing with Samson. I remember reading Samson, and I'm like, this guy is a flake. This guy is a total flake. And when I was young, reading the Bible for the first time, I'm expecting all these guys to be my heroes. They're supposed to be my heroes. I didn't understand that.
Isn't that the beauty of Scripture?
It is.
Real.
I didn't get it at the time because I was like, no, these guys are supposed to be. I didn't understand that only Jesus was the hero. That we're all a mess. And I read Samson, I'm like, this guy stinks. And he's he's wasting his life. He could have been so useful to God. But then he's still named in the Hall of Faith in Hebrews 11, right?
Jesus was a Nazarite, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it is amazing that God uses such broken, weak people like me, like you, like Samson.
Talk about the Nazarite vow. Can you? Because I just said something. I'm just trying to make sure.
So Jesus was a Nazarene, not a Nazarite.
Yeah. And, that's why I wanted to clarify. Good, thank you.
And but the Nazarite vow, like they made vows. They didn't cut the hair at their heads. The Rechabites. There were different vows and different peoples that took different things. Rechabites didn't drink.
John the Baptist.
Rechabites didn't drink any wine. Plus, they didn't own any household property. So I love it when teetotalers are like, hey, well, the Rechabites, they took a vow of abstinence. Yeah, from housing, dude. You want to take that one too? I don't think so.
Nope.
All right, what else we got?
All right, sorry. So I just want to make sure that you clarified that because I knew I made a mistake when I said it. Here we go.
Yeah, you'd be talking to Dwayne again if we didn't fix that.
Well, okay, but that wasn't as bad as my last. No, don't. Stop.
I'm not saying anything.
Stop.
I'm
now, you know what?
Scrolling down.
I know. I got a question for you. Ready?
What do we got?
Here we go.
Is it from a girl?
Maybe Davis. Oh, Matt Davies. Matt Davies. Maybe
How about Matt Davis?
No, but look,
Dummy. It says Davis.
No, it's not Matt Davis.
Davis.
Okay, hold on. What's that thing
internet
right there?
poll. How do you pronounce this? Davis.
No, what's that thing right there?
It's called an apostrophe.
Okay, there's an
Jimmy.
apostrophe after D.
Yeah.
That sounds French to me. Matt Davies.
No, it probably is.
See?
Go ahead.
All right, Matt Davies says this. Oh, this is good.
Wait
Hey,
a minute.
guys.
That's weird. No. Read the subject.
Oh, subject.
What is that? That's offensive. That's offensive. I'm not a bald.
The subject is being a bald.
Not being bald,
All right,
but
message.
being a bald. Hey, bald.
Hey guys, love the pod. Sorry, Fofo, but this question is for Joe. I recently shaved my head for the purpose of eliminating the Friar-esque bald spot and was wondering if you could give any recs on products. Do you go for the shiny skull or just shave it all the way down and let the Lord's light do the rest? Any suggestions would help. Thanks for giving me a pod my wife and kids actually enjoy.
All right,
That's
listen.
from Matt Davy.
All right, listen, kids. Your dad, Matt, is cool, and you need to just love him and
Do whatever he
respect him.
says.
And right now, kids, if you're listening, your dad, Matt, I want you to go give him a high five right now. High five, Dad. And if you're little babies, then it doesn't matter because you don't know what I'm saying.
And I'm actually pretty sure. I'm reading here. I have really special presents for my kids right now, and I hope to give them after they hear this podcast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it does
with
say that.
Milkshakes and cookies all night.
Yeah, kids, your dad, Matt Davis, or
Davies.
he promises milkshakes after the podcast, so go ahead and enjoy those. All right, so very important question, Matt. Thank you for sending it in. I want to take this very seriously.
There's nothing serious.
All right,
about
so-
this. I wish I faked this.
I have bad hair, okay?
You got no hair.
Well, so here's the thing. Before I went bald, I had bad hair, unless I grew it out really long, and then it looked good. But then I had to go to Moody, so I shaved it bald. And Moody said, and this was like in 93, Moody said, you can't shave it bald. And I said, why not? And they said, because white people don't do that. You look like a skinhead. You have to grow it back out. That's what they said to me.
Oh, my gosh.
And I
really?
said, what about that professor? He shaves his head bald. And they said, that's okay. He's black. He's allowed to shave his head bald. And I said, oh, okay, well, whatever. So I had to grow my hair out. My hair short looks bad. It looks like a toupee is falling off of my head, even before I went bald. So once I got out of seminary and everything, I just started shaving my head. And then I started going bald. And so now it just makes sense. I look better bald. That's why I do it. And, so just listen, here's the truth. The bald, Bruce Willis said this, the prophet, Bruce Willis said that shaving your head bald is the 21st century comb over. And that's what it is. You're going bald. You're trying to hide it. But you know you can't comb it over anymore. People are catching on. So what do? You bick that bad boy and get it all clean looking. So if you're going to do it, you don't want to go shiny. A shiny skull looks plastic or sweaty or gross.
I feel it looks like a bowling ball, though.
All right, listen, James White, I'm just going to be real here.
No,
for a minute, okay?
don't.
Now listen,
be
we all
real.
love and respect Dr. White.
Don't.
He's brilliant. And listen, I'm preaching with him at a conference in 2 months. So I'm going to go ahead and say this. So Dr. White, he doesn't listen to this. He ain't going to
listen. He ain't got time
so,
for us.
but if he does, we'll talk about it. All right, so Dr. White, you're brilliant. You're an awesome communicator. You're a great apologist. You stand for the gospel. We all love you. But you need to tone down the sheen on that dome. It's too shiny. It's too shiny, bro. You got to get some powder on there or something because it is too shiny.
No, not about Dr.
Right.
White.
No, that's just the truth. You watch the YouTube. Watch the YouTube.
Dividing line. Yes,
yeah,
but it's not
it's
that
shiny.
bad.
I got to
It
put on
is
sunglasses. It is
not
shiny.
that bad.
It is.
No,
it burns the retinas.
No, you are overstating.
It's like looking
it.
at the sun.
You are
Okay.
overstating this.
And I'm a bald guy, so I can talk about it.
You know
can't
what?
talk about it.
We're done talking about
No,
this.
products. Here you go.
Yeah, products.
If you want to shave your head and get a good shave that's healthy for your skin, knock it off with the 5 and 10 blade razors that cost $50 a pop. You want an old school safety razor,
Yes.
double-sided, double-edged safety razor. You drop one razor in.
Mule.
tile
You
it
talking about the
down.
Mule?
Man, there's a bunch of ones. You just Google. I'll link it in the show notes. There are good options out there, but you don't have to spend a lot of money. But here's the thing: you're going to spend. You might spend $30 to $100, depending on how much you want to spend on a good safety razor that'll last you the rest of your life. And then razors, you get 50 razors for $2.
Yep.
They last you, and I shave once a week, so I don't even care. So I just shave it once a week and just let it grow out, and I look awful. Nothing I can do about that. So yeah, man, there you go. Those are my suggestions. Get a double-edged safety razor, and don't make your head shiny. Otherwise,
And we're going to link one.
oh yeah.
I think the Mule. I love the Mule.
All right, so you know what? Let's do Let's talk about our sponsor because we love them.
We
love books.
We love books.
And
I love listening.
And you're not a very good listener. It's really it's
I
ironic
listen.
that you like listening to audiobooks because you never listen to me.
Oh yeah, but
remember last episode?
You have nothing really to say.
Oh, I have. Something to say.
No. I love listening to Pat. I love listening to Brian, to Jeff,
John Calvin,
to Rob.
If you wanted to listen to John Calvin, though, he's dead. How would you do it?
Oh, you know how I would do it? Audible.com.
Ba-boom.
For the listeners of Doctrine and Devotion, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to check out their service. And we're recommending all this week Institutes of the Christian Religion by John Calvin. And to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/doctrine. And you can go ahead. It's free to sign up. It's a free trial. You can cancel your service at any time, and you still get to keep that free audio book. It's
you keep the Calvin.
Win.
And win. I'm going to throw a fourth one in there.
Who's the fourth win?
Extra. It's gravy.
It's gravy. It's Grace win.
You know how I am with math.
On average, you're right. All right, Joe, I've got one for you.
All right.
This is from Ryan Krempin. Krempkin? Wait, no.
Krempin?
Krempin.
It sounds like something
He's
you
krempin
would...
good.
Krempin sounds like something you would do. It sounds like the technical term that you would use for using your thumb to make those dents in the top of a pie.
I just keep thinking I keep reading crunk. Like he's crunking.
What's crunk? I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a dance move.
No, it's not. Crunk means crazy drunk. You don't know hip hop. Get going.
I'm gonna crunk
Google it.
I'm not Googling that. Why would I Google that?
Right, go ahead. You read it while I'm Googling crunk.
No, don't do that. I don't want that on your computer.
No.
Here you go. Subject, Israel. Gents, I enjoy the show and your balance of substance and lightheartedness. You take Scripture and God very seriously, but not yourselves, and it's refreshing to hear. My question is twofold. How should we think about modern Israel as a state and modern Judaism as a religion? First, I've struggled to find a concise explanation of dispensational and covenant theology, and scriptures can be confusing. Second, I feel like my crew believes they understand Judaism because of how we interpret the Bible, but I doubt the same as is currently taught in the synagogue down the street. Any insight to current mainstream Jewish teaching? Thank you, cheers, and keep up the great work, Ryan.
All right. Wow. Well, that's a huge question. We're not.
Yeah, I'm going to let you go
I'm
ahead.
not prepared for, but I'll go ahead and take a stab at it.
Here we go.
First of all, while crunk can mean crazy drunk, it is also a type of hip hop music characterized by repeated shouted catchphrases and elements typical of electronic dance music, such as prominent bass.
Crunk
it
up.
All right. It could also just be slang for excited and full of energy. So
I think you owe me an apology.
No.
All right, but anyway, Israel.
So let me look at this. Let me if I can bring this thing up here. All right. So concise explanation of dispensationalism versus covenant theology. We're actually going to do a podcast on covenant theology.
Yeah.
But let me just say this. Dispensationalism and covenant theology are ways of understanding the whole of Scripture, the story of redemption, who God is and what he has done throughout the whole history of redemption. So that's what we're talking about. How do we make sense of what we read in the Scripture overall? And dispensationalism is characterized by a few different things. One of the earmarks or the hallmarks, I guess, of dispensational theology is that they take a very literal approach to interpreting Scripture. And while we all like the idea of let's take the Scripture literally, they would take even things like prophecy so literally, and they would say that you must interpret prophetic apocalyptic literature literally unless it's just impossible to do so. So whereas other theologians and other tribes and traditions would say like, well, sure, we want to interpret the Scripture literally, but in its context and according to its genre. And so if it's prophetic apocalyptic literature, we are not really supposed to interpret some of those fantastical elements literally. Those are designed to be understood a bit more symbolically. So they are more literal in their interpretation, specifically as it relates to prophecy. They make a very hard distinction between Israel and the church. And not just Israel as the nation of God and the people of God in the Old Testament, and then the church as the New Testament people of God. They make a distinction in that there is a different plan. God has one plan for the nation of Israel and one plan for the church. And historically, it has been that the church is essentially a parenthetical plan B until his plan for the Jews is completely worked out. That's not entirely fair to say it that way, but I'm trying to be quick here. And you have old school dispensationalism, and then you have progressive dispensationalism. And today, the only scholars out there that are dispensational are progressive dispensationalists, and they're smart, they're gifted, they're much smarter than I am, but we just take a different path in understanding how Scripture comes together and what characterizes the plan of God. They would say that it's dispensations over different epochs, and we would say that as covenant theologians, that what holds all of Scripture together is God and his promise of the covenant of grace in Jesus Christ. And so we see covenants structuring the history of redemption over dispensations, and we have a different approach to hermeneutics. We see that the plan of God to capture his people, which he calls Israel, the Israel of God. Even in the New Testament, he calls the church the Israel of God, bringing them together under this triune God for worship in all eternity. That was the plan from the beginning, that a people of God would be made up of every tribe, tongue, and nation. It would not be geographically or ethnically located. So big picture on those two, and we'll link to some books for you to read, is that it's a different way of understanding the whole of Scripture, and this impacts how we interpret prophecy and Israel, the law, and other things. When it comes to the nation of Israel, my personal understanding of Scripture here, which is common in the Reformed tradition, is that the nation of Israel is no longer in play as the revelatory vehicle of God, that the revelation of God is complete in Scripture, that the people of God is no longer the nation of Israel, but is the church made up of both Jews and Gentiles, made up of people from every tribe and tongue and nation. So anything that will happen to the nation of Israel is, like some people speak about the restoration of Israel and the sacrifices and all of these things. And this gets into eschatology, but I don't see any significance politically, socially, or historically what's happening with the nation of Israel today as it relates to Scripture. It's a whole big thing. But that's as clear as I can make of it without writing a paper, which I'm definitely not about to do right now. No, I ain't going to do that. All right, so I got a question.
All right, let's do it.
It's from Laura Kussmeiter.
Yeah.
We know her.
We know her.
Okay, so Laura says, subject is women in leadership in the church. Hi, I'm loving your podcast and enjoying the discussion and topics you guys are covering. I specifically enjoyed your show on church leadership and was wondering if you could share your thoughts on women in leadership, and if you feel that it's not biblical for a woman to be a pastor. Could you explain why you believe that and what Scripture your beliefs are based on? Thanks so much. And again, I'm loving the show.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is this subject kind of, it's almost like a bomb, right? Like you kind of throw it out there and people are either going to agree with you or they're going to hate you. So we kind of make sure we, understand that. Joe and I are coming from a particular perspective on what we believe Scripture is saying in this. And I also want to say, people that hold to kind of the same view that Joe and I do, there are varying degrees of that. Joe and I would say, are what's known as soft complementarians. We believe that we are there to complement each other, but we also think that there's headship, I guess. Is that the right word? You want to use that? Is that authority? Is that the wrong word? I feel like maybe is that too authoritative?
Yeah, I think so if you're talking about complementarianism, the gist of complementarianism is if you were going to summarize it and make it most simple, that men and women are equal.
That's right.
But that there are different roles and functions in marriage and in the church that are somewhat limited based on gender, but not gender only. That would be the simplest. And so in the home, we recognize that men and women, husbands and wives, mothers and fathers are partners who are equals, who are working together. But Scripture seems to say to us that that the husband or the father is considered the head of that home, and as head, he bears the responsibility for what happens in the home. Now, of course, both people are responsible for their own actions, and they're working together, and they're making decisions, and they're praying, and he needs to be rebuked by his wife sometimes because he can be an idiot and all
lazy, not doing what he's supposed to be doing.
So these things are true, but He bears the responsibility, and he is called to sacrifice and to lead. She is called to respect and to submit to his leadership when it is biblical.
That's really important. And that's what I mean by the varying degrees. And I'm not going to name names, but I know that Joe and I have had conversations, and I've had a lot of frustrations as I read some prominent organizations that would, and even individuals that would almost advocate, or they seem to be saying that, if a woman's being abused,
No, they've said it.
I know. I'm just trying to be I don't know.
So let's be really clear.
I'm trying to be gracious here in that.
The complementarian issue has to do with, what the essence of it is, in the home, there are different roles, though there is equality. And in the church, there are different roles, though there is equality. Equality is not the issue.
Yes.
And so in the church, we are convinced that that the only people that can serve as elders or pastors, same thing, in the church are men who are qualified according to scriptural standards, called and set apart by the church.
Not just because they're a man.
No. They are men is a necessity based on 1 Timothy 3.
Yes.
That's my understanding of 1 Timothy 3 and how it breaks down the passage there. But I would say that it is men who are qualified, so they must be godly, they must have these character qualities, and they must be called and recognized by the local church. So here's what we're saying. In the home, marriage, family, the husband becomes the head or is the most responsible person in that relationship. And in the church, it means that those who function as elders or pastors must be qualified, called men. We are not talking about women as cops. We're not talking about women running for office. We're not talking about equal pay or any of that stuff. We're simply saying that in these two spheres, we recognize that Scripture indicates that there are differing roles for equal people in the economy of God for home and church.
And I think we're saying, Joe, that there are places within the church leadership, that's just not elder pastor, correct? Because I think she's asking two questions. Because she's saying, your thoughts on women in leadership, and then if you feel it's not biblical for a woman to be a pastor. And I feel like those are two separate categories.
Right. And so obviously, there are going to be, I shouldn't say obviously because many churches don't do it. And listen, we're a complementarian church that we have been slow to engage this topic and to do as good of a job with women as we have with men.
We have finally, we're just starting. But it took us a year. And I think that's important because it is a tough issue to kind of navigate and to make sure that as we're working through it, we're doing it in a God-honoring, biblical way.
Right. So what we've decided to do at Redeemer is we offer something called Leadership Lab. And in Leadership Lab, we want to raise up, coach, mentor, disciple, future and current or potential and current leaders in their various callings. And this will include men and women. Now, we are complementarians, as we just described to you, but this is open to men and women because we're not training people in this context for pastoral ministry. We are simply encouraging them to be the best leaders that they can be. So we're talking about principles of leadership that are transferable. And you want women to be leading in your church. Even if you're a hard complementarian, I would hope that you would want women leading other women in your church, that you would be equipping them to teach and to preach to women, to the same sex, to write well,
to speak well. I mean, I feel like there's I think this is a responsibility.
Yeah.
It's a responsibility of shepherds to be shepherding. And if you're ignoring, quote, I'm throwing a stat, 50% of your congregation, that just doesn't make sense. I know
more
it's wrong.
Statistically.
Yeah, but I'm also thinking children, that's why I'm saying it's overgeneralization. But I'm just saying you're ignoring that and you're not really caring for them at all.
Right.
I feel that's just so unhealthy. It's so unbiblical. It's so unloving. It's just
it's true. It's
so unfulfilling.
People are, because complementarianism, which is a new word, and but because complementarian has become such an important issue among prominent evangelicals, a lot of people are afraid to rock the boat.
That's right.
They don't want to appear soft on it because they don't want to be labeled liberal or whatever it is.
Which was even a struggle for us as we're looking and trying to investigate. And
not
see,
for me. I don't care.
I know, but I'm just saying, as we're trying to look and say, okay, how have others navigated through this? We couldn't find, it was very hard to find anything because people are scared. Yeah. They're afraid to talk because then all of a sudden they're labeled incorrectly, when, like I said, we're soft complementarians. We believe in all this, but we also don't believe that women are supposed to be cast to the side and neglected.
Right. Or that they are incapable of doing,
that's it.
Many of the things that men have done in culture and in society. Now, there are different roles for different genders in those two spheres that we've talked about, but people get...
And I've wanted, this, I've talked with Joe, I wanted to do a show just on this.
Yeah, we want to do one.
I want to do one because just because of some of the news and some of the other stuff, I've just been
There's some crazy stuff. And finally...
I just get so riled up, dude.
Well, the Reformed guys are, like, Mortification of Spin has been addressing a lot of this issue, especially as it relates not only to the abuses that have happened in complementarian churches and circles, but also...
horrific.
But also... as it relates to this Trinitarian nonsense with the eternal subordination of the Son. So
exactly.
We're going to get into all that.
We'll get into it. I get riled up because I just feel like it's so disrespectful, so dishonoring, so unbiblical, and it's so unloving.
I know.
It's so unloving. How do you just... I'm stopping.
You're a lover. You're just a lover,
I'm
man.
not a hater.
You don't hate.
I don't hate.
All right. So when it comes to what are our thoughts on women leadership in church? When it comes to the classic roles in the church of elder, deacon, we don't believe that women can serve in the role or office of elder,
that's right,
but that they can serve in the role and office of deacon. When it comes to leading, then we tend to see those roles, and a lot of us are still figuring this out as we find ourselves in different cultural contexts. And not everybody agrees on these things, but I would say personally, for me, Joe Thorne, that I don't have a problem with a woman teaching, lecturing, even in mixed company, outside of the Sunday gathering of the church. We wouldn't have a woman to preach at Redeemer on Sunday because that role is associated with pastoral ministry.
Exactly.
But outside of that context, I wouldn't have a problem with a woman teaching a class on apologetics or teaching. I wouldn't have a problem with a woman commentator on scripture or anything like that. So leadership is going to look different in different ways. Mm-hmm. Some women should be speaking. Some women should be writing. Some women are going to be in the academic world, and some are going to be in the hands-on ministry world. And we want to help them find their role and equip them to do that as best as we can in accordance with our conscience and the understanding of Scripture. I will do a whole show on it, Laura.
Yeah.
All right, listen, we have a ton more emails, but we are out of time. Mm-hmm. We got to wrap this up. We got to get to work. Well, work is over. I got to get ready for some family stuff. So, how do we end this? What do we do?
Well, it's
J-Bond Media?
J-Bond Media. Why don't you talk about J-Bond?
Okay, so Justin Bond. He is the man that engineers and edits our sound. He's also the guy that shot the video that we're dropping very soon.
Well, no, this will be on Thursday.
Yeah, but the video won't be available yet. What? Just the teaser.
Oh, the teaser. Okay, yeah. The teaser. You've already. Yeah. Hopefully, we should have already put out the teaser.
Yeah, by now.
By now, you should have the teaser.
So Justin Bond is our media genius and genie. Mm-hmm. He makes everything happen. If you need video, audio, photo, talk to him. He is the man. He will hook you up. You don't want to hire those other suckers because
they suck.
Because J-Bond is good. So you want to do that.
Except for Rob.
Local Rob?
Local Rob.
Yeah, but we ain't promoting him. Rob, if Rob wants to promote, he's got to pay. Rob did the photos of me and Jimmy when we launched the podcast.
And he's a listener.
Yeah.
I love you, Rob. He also did my brother and my sister-in-law.
And the guy is jacked. He's built like a superhero.
He looks like Clark Kent.
He does. He does.
Just not blonde.
Yeah, Clark Kent's not blonde.
Clark Kent's blonde? No, he's not.
No, he's not. What's
wrong with you? Who's blonde?
No, but like Aquaman or something.
No, Aquaman sucks.
Aquaman is blonde. That's the only blonde one.
Terrible. He is absolutely horrible.
Robin isn't even blonde.
Aquaman.
All right, well, listen. You obviously need to take a break. So let me close it out by saying this. If you want to support the show, leave a retune for
What is that?
If you want to support the show, leave a review of our podcast at iTunes or whatever podcast platform you enjoy using. Mm-hmm. You can subscribe or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We would love to have you there. And if you want to leave us a message, you can click on the Contact Us page at our website, doctrineanddevotion.com, and you can leave us a message, and we'll get that. We'll get back to you. And let me say this: I keep getting some of you guys asking, "Where are the links?" And it's like you're saying you don't have the links in your podcast feed, or you don't have the links on YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to break this down for you, make it real simple. Hey, geniuses, go to doctrineanddevotion.com and look at the show notes page. That's where all the links are at.
Really?
I know you're our listeners. We're supposed to be kind, but come on, quit bothering me with that.
All right, we'll be back every Monday and Thursday, dropping new episodes. Thanks for listening. Sharing is caring. We'll talk to you later.